Today is World Homeless Day, and around the globe, people are marking the day in many ways in our area, and a 7-year-old wanted to help out. Look at this. Tyler Stallings is his name, and he teamed up with Lisa Sleep and West Elm to donate mattresses at the Maryland Center for Veterans Education and Training. Tyler is the CEO of Kid Time Enterprises, which assembles and distributes hero bags to the homeless here in Baltimore. Tyler also presented a monetary donation and handed out hero bags as well.
I thought that, why do we have homes and the veterans have to, find stuff like bags out of make clothes out of, like trash bags and things, and, they don't have a home. And I wanted to give them out because I felt that why do we have something and they don't?
There you go, 7
years old.
More than 500,000 Americans who are seeking refuge from homelessness, domestic risk, human trafficking, and other hardships also don't have beds. And since Lisa Sleep was founded in 2015, the company has donated more than 30,000 mattresses that have resulted in more than 10 million nights of better rest. And today is also International Walk to School Day. 50 students here at Wildwood Elementary Middle did just that. They were even greeted by some special guests who were out there making sure that this was all to promote safety.
It's a great opportunity for us to get out into schools with the students and the parents and reinforce safe pedestrian behaviors. And then we also want the drivers to be more alert to children in school zones.
Well, there you go. Well, it was a foggy morning, but it turned out to be a nice day down south. Well, it's an entirely different story as Hurricane Mike has already hit the land here in Florida and in the Panhandle. And right now, we're going to talk it over with meteorologist Michael Taylor. Mike, this storm, worst one since '92 to hit.
Yeah, it's Camille.
There's going to be damage.
Yeah, there's going to be damage. The thing is, this storm is moving fairly quickly. Thank goodness for that. At around 15 miles per hour, it's starting to accelerate a little bit, and it's moving off towards the northeast. But yeah, this is going to be a storm that we're going to remember historically.
When I heard you earlier say that it's going to be a Category 2 when it hits Georgia?
I'm thinking so, yeah, because if it makes a landfall at Category 4, moving at that rate of speed, these storms, they don't instantly weaken, or they won't instantly weaken the second they make landfall as far as losing all of their categories. So yeah, it's down to a 3 now. It's crossing over the state line into Georgia, so it's technically already a 3, and it's going to maintain that 2 status as it's making its way across the southern central sections of Georgia. So this storm is going to cause a lot of issues, and here's a look at the time lapse of the landfall right there, just southeast of Panama City. You can see exactly where the eye wall came right ashore near Mexico Beach, Florida. The pressure was down to 919 millibars, making it the 3rd strongest landfalling hurricane, and the winds were estimated at around 155 miles per hour, and this occurred at 1:45 p.m. As far as where's the storm currently located, well, it's at a Category 3 strength. The winds are at 125 miles per hour, and if you look closely there's the eye wall, and now it's starting to cross right over into Georgia at this moment in time. So it's a Category 3 right now. It's going to maintain, briefly at least, that Category 3 status. Then it will eventually weaken into a 2, but while it goes through this transformation, it's going to be making its way across Georgia, and that's where the concerns will be, because look at the winds, 125 miles per hour, and the wind gust still reaching about 155 miles per hour. There's some high wind warnings in effect until 6:30 p.m. right along where that eye wall is located. And as far as whether or not these high winds are actually reaching the surface, these sensors were reporting exactly what the wind gusts were doing throughout the course of the day. Look at the highest wind gust reported over in Panama City at about 128 miles per hour. And then after receiving that wind gust, notice how it disappears. More than likely, the storm took the sensor with it as it was making its way over that region and location. So now we're tracking the next locations as this storm continues to move up in the northeasterly direction. Tallahassee, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust up to around 70 miles per hour as it continues to move in that northeasterly direction. So eventually, through central sections of Georgia, near Macon, for instance, or Valdosta, they're going to be seeing some impressive wind gusts as well. This storm will continue to move in a northeasterly direction, like I've been mentioning, and then we're going to have a Category 1 to around that tropical storm strength as it begins to push out from the state of Georgia, and that's going to bring it towards us as we look beyond that. So one thing I will mention here, this is where the concern will be. Notice the track. Thank goodness for a cold front that's going to be moving in our direction. It's separating fall from summer right now, and this cold front eventually is going to not only reach us and drop our temperatures by about 20 degrees, but it's also going to help in kicking this storm out to sea. So we'll have a combination of two things, a cold front from the west and the tropical moisture. All this will come together right over the mid-Atlantic. So there is going to be a flooding threat here. The worst of it will be well south of Maryland, but notice we're right on the fringe of that level 1, level 2 risk on a scale of 1 to 4. So we're about halfway there, and that's why we have these flash flood watches in place, mainly for the eastern shore. This is the location expected to be hardest hit, but the flash flood watch will remain in effect until 6 a.m. for tomorrow for the eastern shore and beyond. Once we get past this event for Thursday, your Friday looks much better with temperatures into the 60s, but then we hold on to those 60-degree temperatures into the weekend, and we'll keep the sunshine as well.
All right. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're partnering tonight with the MedStar Health Cancer Network, trying to educate you and give you an opportunity to answer questions. The number to call is 410-481-2222. But right now we're in the studio with Dr. Del Corral, plastic surgeon at MedStar Franklin Square Medical Center, as well as the Bel Air Medical Campus. Doctor, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
Talk to us now about some of the latest advancements in breast reconstruction.
Well, there are a lot of numerous advances in breast reconstruction. One of them is actually what we call a pre-pectoral reconstruction. Traditionally, we have used implants really after a mastectomy, and they were placed below the muscle. Now, with the use of collagen slings, we're able to put that implant above the muscle. What does that mean for the patient? Really a faster recovery, less pain, and better outcomes. So it really has transformed the way we do implant reconstruction.
What's the difference between the implant and the flap procedure? It sounds like it's taking fat from someplace else and moving it to a good place.
Exactly. So an implant reconstruction is traditionally, it could be a tissue expander or an implant that is placed at the time of the mastectomy. A flap procedure, also known as the deep flap, is really when we take tissue from someone's abdomen and we really use that to shape and reconstruct the breast. Implant reconstruction traditionally is a shorter surgery with a short recovery time, but as you can imagine, having an implant in your body, you're going to have to monitor that implant throughout your life. A flap procedure is your own tissue, so that tissue will age with you. If you gain or lose weight, it will change with you as well. So it can be sometimes, for the right patient, a natural and softer reconstruction.
You hear about a lot of breast cancer patients dealing with lymphedema. What are some of the treatment options for that?
Yeah, so lymphedema is really a terrible problem the patient has developed after they were diagnosed with breast cancer. And a lot of the times it's hard for them to really have a solution or a treatment. But lymphatic surgery is sometimes an option for those patients, and is really given to the patient in conjunction to lymphedema therapy. There's different ways to reconstruct someone's lymphatic, and the most common way to do it is when we actually do what is called a lymphovenous bypass. And we can reroute the lymphatic circulation into the venous circulation to decompress someone's arm or leg.
So you get like a fluid, right?
Exactly. Or we can actually use lymph nodes and put them in an area where they can absorb some of that fluid in order to provide some relief for that patient.
All right, Dr. Corral, thank you so much. The number to call, you got to get your questions answered. We got a studio full of experts over there waiting to take your calls. Looks like they're on the calls right now, but still call anyway. 410-481-2222. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're working for you.
All right, they wrote about what most teens deal with, bullying, how these kids are staring at a film, and they're making sure it's based on the book that they wrote. We have a sneak peek for you. Plus, it was an ugly loss. It's still an ugly loss. Days later in Cleveland, but the Ravens hope not to repeat. Sean Stepner catches up with the team as they look to rebound in Nashville on Sunday. You're watching WMAR 2 News at 5. This is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we're going to really be turning you out here next week because we're going to show support to the victims. The Maryland State House is also lit up for purple. There's a way you can help victims of domestic violence right now. We are teaming up with the House of Ruth for the Fill the House campaign. We are collecting these items for abused and homeless children and women. You can drop off donations at Arden Courts in Towson, the People's Bank in Hereford, to just name a few. Anyone who makes a monetary donation, our Scripps Howard Foundation will match it up to $10,000. And then Wednesday of next week, we will be at the White Marsh Mall all day long, filling trucks donated by Von Paris Moving and Storage with your donations. For more information about the drive and for a full list of all the drop-off locations, visit WMAR2news.com/fillthehouse.
You're watching the station that's working for you. Now, WMAR2 News at 5.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Jamie Costello alongside of Kelly Swoop. Hurricane Michael makes landfall as a Category 4, the first of its kind to hit this area in recorded history.
And some of the pictures are just absolutely devastating. This is just a glimpse of some of the damage. This is Mexico Beach, Florida, where the eye of the storm hit with 155-mile-per-hour winds. They sent debris flying everywhere, even houses and cars. ABC's David Muir and his team are in Panama City, where they captured structures collapsing right before their eyes.
It's gonna go, it's gonna go.
I am worried that very large numbers did not evacuate because we have very, very good information that they didn't. And so there are people out there in this storm, and you know, it's just physics and common sense that there's going to be some you know, situations out there that could be unsurvivable.
Well, conditions are so bad, even for first responders, to answer any emergency calls. So for those who did not evacuate, they are being told to shelter in place. And again, those words, hunker down. Flooding and power are also issues many are dealing with right now. Thousands are in the dark already. It could take weeks to get the lights back on. Now, right now, our team of meteorologists are tracking the tropical system. Mike Taylor is taking a look at how the storm will impact us. But first, here's Eric Taylor with the latest on where Michael is right now. Eric?
Yeah, Jamie, this storm has a rarity to it in being the first ever Category 4 to actually hit this region of Florida. We have to go all the way back to 1975 with Eloise, but that was a Category 3 at 125 miles per hour. In Pensacola, back in 1975, also 125 mile per hour hurricane back in the day in the Panhandle. This is also the third lowest pressure on record actually to hit the United States. So that landfall occurred right here in Mexico Beach, and this image is horrifying to a degree because if you look at the center of the eye, we have what's called vortices around it, and those are areas of wind that are spinned up, and it gives a skull and crossbone look inside the middle of that eye as it comes ashore, giving us that third strongest landfalling hurricane pressure at 919 millibars. This rivals basically Camille in 1969 and the Labor Day hurricane that hit down in the Florida Keys back in 1935. The winds 2 miles per hour shy of a Category 5 hurricane at 155 miles per hour. Still looking at a Category 3 here in a very large storm extending from Atlanta all the way down towards Panama City. The eye is starting to disappear. The winds at 125 miles per hour, but still getting gusts at this hour at 155, moving north-northeast at 16. So it's starting to get caught up out ahead of that cold frontal boundary into the jet stream that's going to sweep it up the coastline. Hurricane Michael right now 30 miles west of Bainbridge, Georgia. The wind gust earlier today around 128 miles per hour in Panama City as that northern eye wall came on shore, and now we're pushing all of that wind inland along with heavy rain. The good news is the flooding shouldn't be too bad, but especially along the coast we have the storm surge concern. It's more of the wind that's going to become a problem here as this continues to push up into Georgia and eventually the Carolinas on top of the impacts that Florence had about a month or so ago. So that track brings that curve right up into the Carolinas and eventually right off our shoreline as we get towards late Thursday. We could run into some problems around here. For now, though, we'll send it over to meteorologist Mike Taylor, who has an update on what we can expect from here and maybe beyond as Michael works his way.
Yes, that's right. I was taking a look at the track of that storm as it's beginning to bend over towards the northeast. That's going to be because of a fall front that's on the way. That's right, I said fall. We've been stuck in this summertime pattern, but it's this same cold front you see here that's assisting and pushing Michael off the coast, but it's also going to give us a 20-degree drop right here at home. So we're at 78 degrees right now, but as this system continues to move in, we'll be caught between two weather systems. We have a tropical system, as you know, of Michael. That's pushing in from the south, but also a cold front. These two entities are going to come together over the mid-Atlantic, so that's going to produce an opportunity for some heavy rainfall. Now, the core of this, where you see the red shade, that's mainly for the Carolinas. Yes, the Carolinas. That's unfortunate because they're still recovering from Florence. But let's dive in and show you our neck of the woods. Flash flood watches extend all the way down towards the south, and even coming home right here, we have a flash flood watch in effect until around 6 a.m. for tomorrow, and that's going to be because of the heavy rain potential that we'll have. In the meantime, let's just say it's the quiet before the literal storm. Temps will stay into the 70s. We'll stay mostly cloudy. Winds will be calm as well, but once again, we will see some changes into the day tomorrow. So I'm calling it a wild Thursday. Rain moves in. Wind's going to be very gusty at times. temps hold steady into the 70s. And once again, we'll have that flooding potential. Meteorologist Eric Taylor will have the full details on where we go from here coming up.
All right, gentlemen. WMAR 2 News is your weather station for the latest on Hurricane Michael or severe weather no matter where you are. Download the free Storm Shield app. You'll see alerts right there on your phone.
Well, police are still looking for a 16-year-old girl that they say ran away from home last week. Tonight, Brooklyn Hayes' family is holding a prayer vigil at Hope Lutheran Church in Essex. It starts at 7 o'clock. Hayes was last seen leaving her home on Galena Road in Essex around 8:30 last Sunday night. She is 5 feet 3 inches tall with brown hair, brown eyes. Hayes' family says police have confirmed that someone had an encounter with her in New York. Anyone with information about her disappearance should call police. You're invited to the premiere of a film starring local kids based on a book written by local kids.
Yeah, it's called The Tormentors, and it's addressing the serious issue of bullying in our schools. The film is premiering tomorrow night it's at the Senator right down the street. And WMAR 2 News, Megan Knight has a sneak peek for us.
Who are they? They're the rebels. It's best if you don't mess with them.
Whatever. They don't scare me.
That's 17-year-old Erin Bowman. She's making her on-screen debut as Nicole in the short film The Tormentors, based on a book that she co-authored.
When the book was published, I was like, oh my goodness. It was starting to sink in, like, wow, I'm a published author.
And that's 17-year-old Cordell Forbes taking on one of the bullies. He also co-wrote the book, which is about bullying and finding conflict resolution. Forbes says he connected with this book because he too has been bullied.
You have kids dying, commit suicide because they've been bullied in schools. You have kids that do not tell their parents and scared to tell their parents because they feel as though they're going to make it worse.
For 6 months, every Saturday last year, Bowman, Forbes, and 8 other students worked on writing 3 books under the guidance from instructors with the Youth Writers Rock program.
And what that is a program we developed to give youth a platform to creatively express their thoughts, their ideas, fun things that's going on in their heads on written paper. So we really believe of the power of the pen.
You can find The Tormentors, The STEM Detectives, and The Super Adventures of the Red Balloon at local libraries and on Amazon. The Tormentors did so well, Youth Writers Rock founder Patricia Johnson Harris pushed to make it into a short film.
It's a great film. I mean, the first time I saw it from beginning to end, I just, didn't say a word, but tears was running down my eyes. And so I'm very, very proud of them.
To see their names on the movie poster brings big smiles to Bowman and Forbes' face, and they can't wait for their friends and family to see it.
I'm going to be so excited. I'm probably not going to go to sleep and sit there. It's like, I don't know what to do with myself.
I know that the premiere is just going to fly by so fast, and I wish that it could just last forever, but I'm super excited for the premiere on Thursday.
The movie starts at 8 o'clock on Thursday night at the Senator Theater and will be followed by a Q&A with the actors. We have ticket information plus how to sign up your kid for Youth Writers Rock on our website, WMAR2news.com.
Oh, that is cool.
That's great. Yeah.
Well, the road games continue this weekend for our Ravens. Now they're headed to Nashville.
This is the best road trip of the year, I'm telling you. There will be a reunion of sorts on the sideline against the Titans, and there's already been a reunion inside the Ravens locker room. WMAR 2 News' Sean Stepner with the team at practice today.
After their worst game of the season, it's time to turn the page.
Win, lose, or draw the game before, we're definitely putting our best foot forward, just concentrating on, putting that game behind us.
The Ravens play their third of 3 consecutive road games this Sunday when they visit Tennessee. A point of emphasis against the Titans should be to get the run game more involved. It's been a non-factor for most of the season, ranked 25th in the NFL, averaging about 94 yards per game. Running back Alex Collins says they're close to busting out.
We watched the film, and it just shows that we're right there, at times, and it's like one player away or, one little mistake away from a big yard or a big gain or, possibly a touchdown.
Back with the team is Baltimore native Cyrus Jones. The cornerback and Gilman grad has bounced back and forth between the Ravens and Patriots.
It's crazy. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Being back here for the second time in about 3 weeks, it's crazy, but I'm back ready to be home.
Jones says Terrell Suggs joked with him that he could be a spy from New England. John Harbaugh says Jones could factor into the return game. A definite wrinkle to this game on Sunday includes the presence of Dean Pease on the Tennessee sideline. Pease spent the last 8 years on head coach John Harbaugh's staff, the last 6 seasons as the Ravens defensive coordinator. Pease retired following last season, only to take the same job with the Titans shortly thereafter. Offensive players see some similarities on the Tennessee film to what they've seen in practice over previous years.
It is a little interesting, the fact that he's been here so long and that they do a lot of the stuff that, you know, especially on first and second down, that we're used to seeing.
Kickoff this Sunday is at 4:25. In Owings Mills, Sean Stepner, WMAR2 News.
Let me tell you, Dean Pease set up this Ravens defense. He did a great job when he was here. All right, prescriptions are not cheap. And now there's a new law that's going to let pharmacists tell you just how you could save some money. And it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We have experts with MedStar Health ready to take your questions. They're on the phone right now at 410-481-2222. Plus, things are changing at medieval times. What you can expect from their brand new show.
A little bit more sunshine out there today as the clouds peeled off this morning. High temperatures got back into the 80s. It felt like summer out there, but a huge fall is coming. We'll detail the 7-day forecast plus the latest on Hurricane Michael coming up after the break.
All right, we got a lot of back and forth today on plans to shut down the Affordable Care Act website during enrollment. The Trump administration is going to take the site offline for maintenance for hours at a time. But critics think Republicans are using this to try and sabotage Obamacare, along with gutting the advertising budget. Now, the government says the site will be down during times when the fewest people are online. And the president lifted some rules on prescription drug prices today. He signed 2 bills that essentially allow pharmacists to let you know if you can get a drug for cheaper. For example, if you have an insurance but the cash price is less, the pharmacist can say this other option is cheaper. Before that was against the rules. So that information was confidential to the pharmacy and insurance negotiators.
Dr. Atsuko Okabe, a breast surgeon in MedStar Franklin Square Breast Center and MedStar here, Bella Cancer, joining us in the studio. Thanks so much, doctor.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You know, people say they have breast cancer, and everybody already assumes it's the same type of breast cancer. There are different kinds of breast cancer. Talk to us about that.
Right. So I would say the key things that we look at with the breast cancer diagnosis is the different features or characteristics of the cancer. So we look at the grade, how similar or dissimilar is it to a normal breast cell. We look for estrogen and progesterone receptors, which would be found on a normal cell, maybe not on the cancer cell. And then the third thing that we really pay attention to is called HER2, a special protein on the surface of the cancer cell.
So how do you personalize the treatment for individual cancers?
Right, so it can be a variety of combinations of all the features that I said, and we take that into consideration with the size of the tumor and also whether there is any involvement of the lymph node, and that helps us to figure out, number one, you know, do we need to do chemotherapy? And if chemotherapy, does it come first or after surgery? And of course, the size may have a determination on what kind of surgery that person may have, whether it's a